Chapter 101, Changing Bottles 1. Train hard when you get back. Train your flying sword often. I also have a technique for controlling and exerting force for your flying sword. Train harder, you'll have the ability to defend yourself when you can train your flying sword to be at your disposal. And Zhao Soxui explained after he returned to the Research Institute. Also, from today on, you have obtained special Level 1 rights to the Research Institute. You are now familiar with a portion of the daily maintenance of the Institute. During these 2 weeks, try your best to familiarize yourself with the situation. Ask a Huang if you don't understand anything. He'll have to hand the matter over to you after 2 weeks, and Zhao Soxui said. Zhu Tui was startled. Missin, what about you? What are you going to do? Me? And Zhao Soxui, who had removed her mask, smiled. You know about the research funding. It's impossible for them to force me to submit just based on the research funding. With my abilities, I should be able to accomplish a few more elimination missions. I've recovered from my injuries and am about to head out. I don't have much money left. And Zhao Soxui waved the finger that she had just used a day ago. Zhu Tui was silent. He wanted to pat his chest and tell her that he was going to enter the Longhu list and get her research funding. However, that would only make Zhao Soxui think that he was boasting. Zhu Tui could only say that after he understood the situation and came to a conclusion. Of course, he also had thoughts about conducting research. With Zhu Tui's illusory introspection, he should have no problems discovering a few genetic base points. However, it was not that simple to obtain research results. First, you had to have a concrete theory and a process that others could replicate. Otherwise, there was no way to determine the outcome. That was not something he could do just by patting his chest. Zhu Tui had to experiment with everything. Miss N, well, think of a way together. Don't be anxious. It's too dangerous to go out and do missions to eliminate the enemy, Zhu Tui said. Why? What did Mr. Wei tell you? Did he want you to make it onto the Longhu list? And Zhao Soxui asked with a smile. Zhu Tui nodded. First, there are rules in the school. A new student would only be able to enter the top 100 of the Longhu list after 3 months. Furthermore, it shouldn't be difficult for you to enter the top 100 of the Year 1 Longhu list. However, it was too difficult to enter the top 10. If a student from the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College managed to get into the top 10 of the Year 1 Longhu list, they would be in the top 30 or even the top 20 of this batch of students. You should focus on your studies. Leave the issue of funding to me, and Zhao Soxui said. Zhu Tui was silent. He did not nod. Miss N, I used more than a dozen bottles of level E energy restoration elixirs yesterday. I'll replenish them after I'm done. What are you saying? You are now half the owner of the Research Institute. It's fine if you use it. It's only right now. If this was when my teacher was still on the Blue Star, I would have no problems giving you $1 million in research grants a year. He'll try to get you to be a research assistant after we're done. You'll get a salary then. And Zhao Soxui handed Zhu Tui a card while she was speaking. This is my individual rights card. You can use this card to purchase some of the things you need for your training, such as a level E energy restoration elixir. You can get a discount on those. It should be able to save you a lot of money, and Zhao Soxui said. Thank you, Miss N. Zhu Tui did not reject the gift. He took it over. He had spent a large amount of money. He had to save as much as he could. Zhu Tui spent the next few days thinking about this problem, aside from his training. How could he get research funding for the Research Institute number 14 to reduce Zhao Xu's burden? This was especially so for research that yielded new results. There were many avenues for that. More importantly, how could the genetic base points that Zhu Tui found in the illusory introspective state be replicated by someone else? That was the difficult part of producing research results. However, after thinking about it for a few days, he had a preliminary idea. Other than that, he spent the next few days constantly familiarizing himself with the technique of controlling the pocket-sized flying sword. In reality, the best attack distance of this pocket-sized flying sword was 10 meters. It had the strongest power within a 30 to 100 meter range. It could even penetrate an inch of steel plate within a 100 meter radius. It had terrifying power. However, its power was not as terrifying when it was at close range. The distance of the acceleration was not enough. However, the technique of controlling a flying sword became useful at this moment. Circling. Circling once or twice or attacking in an arc would not only increase the number of attacks, but it would also increase the power of the attack. However, in the end, its power was a little weaker within 10 meters. This made Zhu Tui think about Zhaoxu's alloy silver pill. He had to prepare a set of alloy silver pills if he really wanted to enter the Longhu list. The flying sword would definitely draw blood. Even he might not be able to control the power of his sword once it was unleashed. Of course, the might of the alloy silver pill was not that great at close range. However, comparatively speaking, it was not as lethal as a flying sword. In these few days, Zhu Tui had managed to come up with a battle strategy that was suitable for his current abilities. At close range, which was also within the radius of his mental senses, the alloy silver pill combined with the mental whip should have immense power. The flying sword was the best choice for long-range attacks. Furthermore, to some extent, the flying sword was like a trump card. Of course, Zhu Tui would activate the flying sword without hesitation if he really needed to. He did not want to get the alloy silver pills from Zhao Saxui again. He did not want to burden her further. Zhu Tui already understood that the genetic arm center in the school provided these things. However, he had to pay a certain price. They were not supplied for free. Actually, the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College had a school that specializes in genetic armaments. Their main goal was to research and create genetic armaments.